everyone, welcome back to Inside Gaming for Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, and we're gonna ask a question. Are video games addictive?
No.
And can playing too much being considered an illness?
I can quit whenever I want.
Okay, this is gonna be a heavy debate to have on a Tuesday, right after we're back from Memorial Day vacation. Yay.
There's definitely been a lot of debate about that topic over the years, but now the World Health Organization has raised the stakes again, saying that yes, gaming is officially a disorder.
Let's back it up, let's go home.
Yeah,
Let's go to
we're
rehab.
done.
I said no. So this happened recently at the 72nd World Health Assembly, where nearly 200 members voted on a revision of the group's international classification of diseases and related health problems.
And that revision now includes something called gaming disorder as a mental health disorder, right, Lawrence?
Yes. So weirdly, this classification doesn't take effect until 2022, so we got a few more party years ahead of us, guys. Well, you can. But what does this mean for you? It's easy to eye roll at this. We'll get to it in a minute. Officially classifying gaming disorder elevates it as a known condition, which means it's something doctors can diagnose.
Oh, okay.
And if we know America, any health condition that can be diagnosed is also something you can earn some money on. So look forward to gaming rehab centers and daytime TV commercials trying to convince paranoid stay-at-home parents that their kids are hopeless addicts.
I mean, if they've been playing WoW Classic for 16 hours a day, they're probably hopeless.
I mean, yes, that is an indicator that something might be wrong. Ship your burnout, iPad-addicted offspring to us for a few weeks. We'll give you that multi-$1,000 care that they deserve.
I printed out the certificate from home.
Well, let's get to the story itself. Let's be honest, it's really easy to give this story a huge eye roll, like Lawrence said earlier. We've heard about games being addictive or causing violent behavior for decades now. Most of those concerns just turn out to be a bunch of hand-wringing from a bunch of old people.
This is a little different though, and definitely not intended to be a blanket of negativity thrown all over gaming.
The WHO defines this gaming disorder as a pattern of persistent or recurrent gaming behavior.
What, you mean like winning all the time?
Yeah.
No.
Recurring wins, back-to-backs?
Just hit me again, baby.
Put me in the clinic, doc, I'm too good.
So the gaming disorder symptoms include, quote, impaired control over gaming, increasing priority given to gaming to the extent that gaming takes precedence over other life interests and daily activities.
Well, that's like Lawrence.
He wears it like a badge of honor.
Wins, hell yeah.
He's like, funeral? No.
I got enough of her when she was alive.
It goes on to describe this disorder as continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequences.
Sounds like all of high school and college and maybe your elementary school days and probably right now.
Dad wasn't there, gaming was.
What else did WHO say, Lawrence?
So they say it can result in, quote, significant impairment in personal, family, social, educational, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. It's listed right after gambling disorder, which notes a lot of the same symptoms. In fact, that's addiction in general. Once it starts impairing your normal life functions, that's when it becomes a serious problem.
Absolutely.
When you're not bathing anymore, going outside, or getting a job, or eating. That's bad.
Yeah,
I feel like in gamer culture, we tend to celebrate people who put in, 72 straight hours of gaming, but it's not a good thing. It's bad for you. Anyway, the WHO's expert on mental health and substance abuse, Shekhar Saxena, ooh, that's a cool name.
I like that name, man.
Pointed to some worst cases like people that play up to 20 hours a day and don't sleep or eat. You should do those things. Stretch.
Go outside.
Yeah, have a little butterfly land on your finger. It's great.
Talk to your mom.
Just take a shower.
But clearly, those people that played 20 hours a day didn't play Anthem.
That's right.
Got him.
Because otherwise they'd be done.
But he also said that gaming disorder is really, really rare. Saxena said that it's limited to a small minority of gamers and that a diagnosis could only be made after such behavior goes on for about a year.
Oh, okay, so an entire year of 20 hours a day or whatever.
It's meant to be severe.
The gaming industry disagrees with all of this.
Of
from
course
the
they do.
WHO.
Your disorder got in the way of my profits. So. So an industry lobbying group called the Video Games Coalition says that games are, quote, enjoyed safely and sensibly by more than 2 billion people worldwide. Way to speak for all of them.
Then it also asked the WHO to reconsider, citing the educational, therapeutic, and recreational value of playing games.
I mean, they're a lobbying group. They have to look like they're doing something, right?
The classification doesn't say that most people have this disorder, and it certainly is only describing very, very severe behaviors. So the two groups here are agreeing that most people can play games just fine. So it seems like it's more of a PR move.
What do the scientists have to say about it, Lawrence?
Yeah, so some addiction doctors say that yes, games are addictive because they trigger dopamine, which is a chemical in your brain that makes you feel good. Dr. Nicholas Kardaras, an addiction psychologist and the founder of Omega Counseling, she sounds like a Bond villain. Holy crap.
Seriously.
Claimed that video games are designed to get kids hooked at a young age, because of course they are. Everything is!
Yeah, no, it's true.
Welcome to America. Anyway, he compared it to drug use, Jesus Christ, saying, quote, cocaine raises dopamine levels. Certain activities raise dopamine levels like sex and gaming. So what, we're just all like doing mounds of coke and and playing video games all the time? That sounds awesome!
No, it's more like I ate a banana and cried for a little bit.
They said that too much gaming can be hard on children's brains because they aren't fully developed yet. So can hard labor. Didn't bother me at all. It's out in the fields, 7 years old.
That's the pro-addiction argument from us, I guess. Games release dopamine, just like drugs, so they're addictive.
Other psychologists argue that games and drugs aren't the only thing that releases dopamine in your brain, and that it's unfair to compare video games to heavy-duty drugs like cocaine.
So in 2017, two psychology professors, Christopher J. Ferguson at at Stetson University and Patrick Markey at Villanova wrote an op-ed in the New York Times arguing that it's not fair to call video games addictive.
Yeah, well, they said it's true that playing video games can make your brain release dopamine, so do a lot of other things, like having sex, reading a book, eating good food, or using meth.
All good things. Meth really is the perfect after-dinner treat. I've been saying it for years.
Sprinkle.
Lawrence, what do they write?
So here's a nice long quote for you. Hold on a minute. Yeah.
Someone was gaming too hard last night.
Playing a video game or watching an amusing video on the internet causes roughly about as much dopamine to be released in your brain as eating a slice of pizza. By contrast, using a drug like methamphetamine can cause a level of dopamine released 10 times that or more.
I gotta get some meth.
Basically, they're saying that gaming makes you feel good,
Right.
but drugs are way more powerful. I think
Obviously.
we've kind of known that for years.
Dropping some serious bombs on today's
Yeah,
episode.
obviously.
Wake up, people.
Meanwhile, a study of internet-based games published in the American Journal of Psychiatry found that so-called gaming addiction doesn't affect that many people.
According to the study, at most 1% of players might exhibit characteristics of an addiction, and the games were much less addictive than gambling.
Yeah, it also found that almost nobody who was classified as possibly addictive experienced a negative outcome. It noted that the biggest difference between addicts and non-addicts was that the addicts played more video games.
Makes sense, right,
Makes
Lawrence?
total sense.
There's a lot of no shit going on today,
Oh,
right?
yeah, but that's good.
Sure.
though.
But this is medical. Something can make sense, but unless it's medically proven and studied, you can't classify it and you can't diagnose it and you
Right.
can't treat it. So that's what all this is. It's a bunch of doctors trying to go through and suss out the actual physical truth from what you can just presume. Turns out in this case, a lot of them are the same thing. Ferguson and Markey concluded that, quote, playing video games is not addictive in any meaningful sense. It is normal behavior that, while perhaps in many cases a waste of time, Jesus guys, is not damaging or disruptive of lives in the way that drug or alcohol use can be.
Go see Shakespeare in the Park. It'd be good for your brain.
You get addicted to that. I might go to the park every day.
Sir, you gotta go home.
Neuroscientist Mark Lewis is also skeptical of diagnosing gaming disorder as an illness. He pointed to studies showing that an overuse is exhibited by 0.5% of the general population and less than 1% of adult gamers.
Yeah, he added that, quote, not only does internet gaming disorder have no adverse effects on health, socializing, or physical activity, there's been an outcry from researchers and scholars warning of the dangers of pathologizing a normal behavioral outlet.
He and others argue that it's potentially dangerous to make a mental illness out of something that's basically just a normal hobby.
Lewis pointed to China where teens can be sent off to a treatment boot camp for spending too much time online, right, Lawrence?
Yeah, that's scary. Apparently somebody died in one, at least that's what Brian said.
Holy shit, oh my gosh.
There are already video game addiction treatment centers popping up in the good old US of A, God bless. So it's not hard to see the insurance implications here either. If it's officially a disease or a disorder, that means more plans could start covering it. Lo and behold, a brand new medical industry is born.
Come on down to the Inside Gaming Rehabilitation Clinic.
Yeah.
We'll wean you off Fortnite. We'll wean you off World of Warcraft and Anthem. Just kidding.
Yeah, that's the self-solving problem. So the medical opinion is kind of all over the place. There is a common thread in the middle where everyone says that not a lot of people have it,
Yeah.
which is good. There is no doubt that some people play a lot more games than they should.
Yeah, of course.
Whether or not that should be an officially treated disease is kind of up in the air at the moment. But everyone on this channel has personal experiences of marathoning games for a lot longer than we should.
That's true.
Indulgence can be fun from time to time. When it becomes habitual, then it's a problem.
Occasionally when I do meth, I do it for 24, 48
Just a
hours.
little taste.
Not
Just
a big deal.
2-3 weeks max.
Yeah, that's a once a year thing. I binge it,
Yeah.
no big deal.
Meanwhile, there are mechanics like loot boxes and gacha systems that are pretty obviously designed to get you addicted to buying in-game items.
Yeah, some countries like Belgium and the Netherlands have already compared them to gambling.
That's
Kind of like game.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is loot box legislation in the US that has been introduced as well.
Last week, Senators Josh Hawley, Ed Markey, and Richard Blumenthal formally introduced the Protecting Children from Abusive Games Act to the U.S. Senate. And this aims at controlling and regulating the way the games target kids with pay-to-win mechanics and loot boxes.
I'm fine with all that.
It's okay.
Wording of laws can be tricky, and sometimes that opens up a bunch of unintended consequences. But yeah, so far, up until like right now, gaming has avoided any kind of official government regulation of any kind. But this bill, in addition to the WHO classification, may mark the end of the unregulated era of gaming.
No!
I mean, not surprisingly, figures within the games industry would prefer to be left to police themselves.
What a surprise.
Wouldn't we all?
I want to keep making money off of 8-year-olds, damn it!
Ahead of the WHO ruling, Sony CEO Kenichiro Yoshida said that, quote, we need to take it seriously and adopt countermeasures. But he didn't say what those countermeasures were.
Kids are good, and I believe in them.
We protect kids.
Well, what should we do? You figure it out.
I'll see you later.
Also, in an interview with the UK Telegraph, Xbox head of operations, Dave McCarthy, said that the industry does need to do more to help parents when it comes to managing screen time and online safety issues.
He didn't come right out and say they're addictive, but he said that the industry could do more in helping parents regulate kids' gaming. I think we all agree on that. That's a pretty easy thing to do.
Do it for the kids.
Yeah, do-
kids.
Do
Yeah.
it for the kids.
They can't raise themselves, even though we try.
Lawrence, what did he say?
So he said, quote, we should evolve what we offer and recognize there's more we can do. We've probably been more quiet about it in the past than maybe we would like to be. Part of this is saying that we recognize there are challenges and we feel a great responsibility to make healthy spaces. So the only company I've seen that actually did something about this was Nintendo. With the app app. You as a parent can like set time on a switch that your kid is playing on.
Oh.
You can set it like 2 hours and then the thing just shuts off. As far as what the industry needs to do, a lot of the executives say, yeah, we should do something. And that's it. Nobody's offering any concrete ideas, probably because, like Adam alluded to, any regulation in this regard would bite directly into their business interests.
Oh.
It's how they make money. So they got to figure out how they can preserve that money and also do the right thing. But money's first.
Money always first.
Yeah, but I mean, ironically, that's probably how we ended up in this situation in the first place.
Yeah.
Turning a blind eye to people sinking 20 hours a day into your game or compulsively buying loot boxes. It's been good for the business so far.
I bet it has.
What if Epic opens their own gaming clinic? Parents, are your kids too addicted to Fortnite? Send them onto our clinic.
Sure.
We'll take good care of them.
If you want that exclusive Fortnite skin, you gotta come to our clinic.
Obviously, we do not have the answer here.
No, God, no.
Aside from reminding all you guys that balance is important in life.
Dropping 20 hours a day on a game might feel great when you're in that real gamer mode.
I love saying that.
Oh, God.
Gamer mode. Shut up.
But you won't be racking up many victory royales when you're getting shipped off to gamer camp in old China with an iPhone crammed up your ass so you can get that fixed just a little bit at night.
I gotta get that match 3, man. I gotta get Candy Crush.
You guys have a lightning cable? Thanks.
Anyway, hail China. I think we can all agree with that,
I
right?
think we can all agree.
Brian, you might be the only person here who likes to exploit children, but that's your thing.
These kids need to have some responsibility for their actions. I feel no sympathy.
And if you are a child watching right now, that's what we call sarcasm.
Okay, well, which games would be classified as targeting children? Like all of them, or?
Yeah.